Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to this wonderful crowd of our families and friends who are here on our Bel Air campus. Shabbat Shalom to you if you are joining us at home. And I was thinking as we were getting ready and beginning, there are sort of two axes, two poles of Shabbat. There's this idea of Shabbat Menucha, the restfulness and the peacefulness of Shabbat. And then there's Shabbat Oneg, or Oneg Shabbat, the joy, and maybe sort of that boisterous gladness of Shabbat. And I was saying, maybe we don't have so much Menucha in here, not so much of the restful, relaxing energy, but we have a lot of Shabbat joy. And so we're really going to lean into that tonight, into the Shabbat joy. Whether you've had a week full of joy or a week full of hard things, the beauty of Shabbat is we kindle those lights, we say goodbye to the week that was, and get ready to welcome in Shabbat. And so to do so, we are going to invite, the Gordons are making their way in, so we're going to give them a couple minutes, but we're going to invite, I saw Eliana is here, who's becoming bat mitzvah tomorrow, so we're going to invite her up with her mom and dad. Olivia, if you want to come up, and then Isaiah can, join us when he comes in. And I also want to invite our amazing second grade teaching team. They're all here. And as we get ready to light the lights of Shabbat, I'm going to make one suggestion. Not a requirement, but a suggestion. We have professional video. You'll see Andre going around with the Steadicam. I promise he will get even better pictures than an iPhone. So if you want to take this time to just be here and be with your family and be in the sanctuary and put down your phones, we can get you video link, you can grab stills, all of that for you, and we can together bring in these beautiful lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של
bringing light into our community in so many different ways. We're going to invite you to have a seat, and we're going to continue. And those of you who are at home, you'll notice we have a new Siddur we're working with at home. Those of you who are here, it is our regular Siddur, but it means I'm going to be giving a couple of different page announcements. So if you're here with us on campus, we're going to invite you to turn to page 12 as we continue with L'chuna Ranana. And if you are joining us at home, that is on page 3 of the flipbook Siddur. great friends are excited to welcome the Shabbat bride with us, and so we're going to turn to the words of Lecha Dodi, the final psalm and song of Kabbalat Shabbat. It is on page 20 in your Siddur, page 3 if you're following along at home. To rise and greet the Shabbat bride.
עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה.
So invite you to remain standing as our second graders help bring us together, bring our intentions together in Baruchu, our call to prayer. you're ever having a hard day, a hard week, I really highly recommend beginning your day in any of our schools. If it's a Sunday, you can come to our Center for Youth Engagement. If you're here and just hearing the sound of children from all different places, right, all across LA, all different backgrounds, singing the words of Shema together. And when we think about unity, right, that's what the prayer is about. It's about unity. There is something so profound in that hope and in those voices. And so tonight, our second graders are going to help give us some of that, but we're going to add our voices into that chorus, and we're going to say it doesn't matter where my parents or my grandparents came from. It doesn't matter, if I took the 405 or I took Skadlock. It doesn't matter how you got here. We're here. We're here together, and we're here to proclaim both our unity and that of the divine.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Our B'nai Mitzvah for tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon can tell us that in our Torah we are getting ready to leave Egypt, right? Even though we on our calendars we're like, wait, Passover's not for a couple months. I've got some time to get ready. But in the Torah, this is the week. Isaiah is going to read in the morning about the last two plagues that get us ready to go. And then Eliana, I'm guessing you're going to pick up at the end of that story as we're really like in the night of the watching, in that Passover night, ready to go. So normally when we get to this moment in the service, when we get to Mi Chamocha, I say we're supposed to be excited, we're supposed to be celebrating, we're supposed to be feeling our freedom. But tonight, I also want us to imagine the both excitement and anxiety, right? Where you're excited, but you're a little scared. That's what I think tonight, this week's Parshat Bo, that's what it's about, is that anticipation that is tinged both with excitement and possibility, but also a little bit of that nervousness. And we're going to bring we have a lot of energy here, so let's bring some of that energy into Mi Chamocha, our song of freedom. If you're following along, and it's on page 40 in your Siddur here, and on page 6 if you're joining us from home. So returning to that idea, Shabbat Oneg, the joy of freedom and of liberation, and Shabbat Menucha, a little bit of rest, and sometimes after those big moments, that's when you need the rest the most. And the Chashkivenu prayer is a prayer of resting, is a prayer that says, let us lie down tonight, God, and feel peace, and let's raise us up tomorrow, let us wake up tomorrow to life renewed, to all of that new possibility and new potential that a day brings. So Hashkivenu is on page 42 in your Siddur, and page 7 if you're following along at home.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'alidenu shomreinu v'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'alidenu shomreinu v'chaim. Ushmor tzeitzenu uvoenu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'alidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'alidenu shomreinu lechaim.
So we always take a moment on Shabbat, maybe sort of perfectly after that moment that says, raise us up to life renewed, to think about those in our lives who might need a little bit of extra boost to raise up, those in our lives who are in need of healing, whether it is of body or of mind, of spirit. We are sending our prayers, I know, from our community to a community in Neve Yaakov in the outskirts of Jerusalem, whose Shabbat peace was shattered today as they sat down for their Shabbat evening prayers. And Our prayers go out to those in this community, in your lives, in your families, and in our wider world. And so if you're at home and want to add some names into the chat, we'll be keeping them in our prayers. And if you're here and you want to just shine those names forward, we'll keep them together as we offer the words of Misha Berach, page 253 in your Siddur. If I am being realistic, I'm going to guess we're not going to get silent prayer this evening. We might get a slightly quieter prayer. But one of the things that I say, you guys know, I'm usually with our kinder and our first grade on Friday mornings, but I always say, right, so many of our prayers, you started us with Baruch Hu, right, which is meant to bring us all together so we're saying the same words. So much of our prayer is about our communal experience and our communal needs and hopes. But we build in a little bit of time in every service that we get to go into our own hearts and into our own souls. And we do that silently, quietly. And so I'm going to invite everyone, as you're able to rise and just take a few moments for your own silent reflection. The prayers begin, if you're in your Siddur, here on page 48 and go through page 62. They're page 8 and 9 in the Siddur at home. You can pray the prayers that are in this book. You can pray the prayers that are in your heart. And as you feel like you've finished what you need, you are welcome to be seated. So our tradition is when someone does a really good job, we either do some silent clapping or we might say Yasher Koach, so we say Yasher Kochachem. Our second graders are gonna find their grown-ups, so you have a job to do while you're doing it. I want you guys to think, everyone, think about what you think is the scariest of the 10 plagues. So while we're giving hugs and feeling lots of love, we're gonna think about what everyone thinks about when they're feeling the love, which is the 10 plagues. So I asked some of our kindergartners and first graders to remind me of what the plagues were. And we got frogs, we got blood, and someone got boils. We got unicorns, which I thought was an interesting one. We got tigers. There were wild beasts, so, maybe. And I think we could probably make an argument, like, depending on where your icks lie. You might think someone who just, blood, I had a roommate, she would pass out, she couldn't do it, right? Maybe that's the one where you're like, that is the scariest, right? Or maybe just frogs really creep you out, and so that one, or boil, right? And I think, to some extent, we're supposed to think that the last plague, right, where God says that God is going to strike down the firstborn of the Egyptians, right? That, I think, is supposed to be the scariest plague. Because that's the one that sets the whole thing in motion, right? That's the night we paint our doorposts so that the Malach HaMavet knows to pass over, right? It's where the English name of the holiday comes from, right? They pass over our houses so that we're safe. But that's supposed to be the scariest. But I want to say something. I have always thought that the penultimate, the second to last plague, number 9, that to me was always the scariest. Still is. If I'd been smart and had microphones, I would ask you what the 9th plague is. But the crew does not like when I do that, surprisingly. Yeah, tell me. Yes, someone said we have darkness. Ms. Hannah Sab has reminded us. So we have darkness is that second to last plague. And it's not just like darkness, right? The Torah says that it is so dark that we can't see ish et achav. We can't see the person right next to us. So you're going to imagine you can't see your mom or dad, right? Can't see your grandparent. You can't see your husband, your wife, your brother, your sister, your friend. And I think a lot about how disorienting that must be, right? To feel like I thought I knew where I was in the world, and I thought I knew who I had with me, and suddenly it's like I'm totally alone. So I want to tell a story, because of course I was going to tell a story. And it's an oldie but goodie. Some of you have heard it, but it really is one of my favorites, and it's about darkness. And it's about, we'll make it a queen. Let's make it a queen who has this giant palace, as queens do, right? So the queen has every room she could possibly imagine, anything she could need, right? There are multiple gyms. There's multiple kitchens. There's multiple dining rooms. There's multiple snack rooms. There's multiple playrooms. There's at least one movie theater. There's a bowling alley. I always was impressed at the spelling house I used to see, they had a wrapping paper, like a room for wrapping. So I always loved that. So the queen has one of those, a craft room, playgrounds, right? Everything possible. And yet there was this one empty room that just drove her crazy. And she couldn't figure out what to do with it because she had everything that she possibly needed. And so, as is so often the case in our folktales, she put it out to her queendom, right? And she said, I invite anyone who wants to try and fill this room. Whatever ideas you have, bring whatever you want and come fill the room. And so from all over the land, people came. They came with backpacks. They came with wheelbarrows. They came with, maybe someone had a 747. They came with trucks filled with stuff to fill the room. And so one by one, each person was ushered in and said, okay, empty whatever you've got. And so one story goes, the first person brought in pebbles. And emptied like dump truck after dump truck after dump truck after dump truck. Right, Micah? Lots of dump trucks. And it filled like a tiny corner of the room. And the queen said, thank you so much. I can't even imagine where we could possibly get enough pebbles to actually fill this room. So they packed them back onto the dump truck, headed out. And next someone said, well, what if we made it like a beach room? Kind of got like a tiki vibe going. And so they emptied sand, which is like every parent's nightmare. So, we don't have to clean it up in this case. It's just in the queen's palace. So again, dump truck after dump truck of sand, and they dump it out, and it filled slightly more than a corner. And again, the queen said, you'd have to bring an entire coastline worth of sand to fill this room. It's so tiny. So they left. And again, it was thing after thing, feathers, bubbles, foam, you name it. And finally, towards the end of the day, there was just one little girl and a little boy, a brother and a sister, who stood at the end of the line with just a backpack. And the guards were about to lock up and say, all right, I guess the room is staying empty. And the little boy said, wait, what about us? And the guards looked at these two little kids with just a backpack and laughed and said, you don't even fill one square on our sidewalk. How are you going to fill this whole room? And they said, will you let us try? And so the guard said, sure, why not? We all need a good laugh. It's been a long day. So the little girl and the little boy, went in, and they looked around the room, and they started to pull the curtains. All the curtains they started to pull, and it was getting darker and darker. And then they went and they turned off all the lights, and the room was totally dark. It was, in fact, filled with darkness. Maybe the darkness like our Torah portion tells us about. And so the little girl, who was a little bit of a smart aleck, she said, look, we filled the room. And the guard said, you did. But the little girl said, but we're not done. We're going to fill it again. She went into her backpack. She and her little brother, they took out 2 candles. And they took out matches. They were very good at using them. Don't get any ideas. And they lit a match. And they lit one candle. And they lit another in the center of the room. And guess what? The light started to grow and grow and grow until it filled that corner of the room. And it filled that corner. And it filled that corner. And it filled that corner. And they said, guess what? This time the queen said, you know what? You filled the room with light. And so the story probably ends that they turned that into the Shabbat room, and that's where they went each and every week to light candles. But I think more importantly for us is this reminder that maybe when we sit in the most darkness, right, the only thing we can do is try to fill it with light. And so we do that each and every Shabbat. We light candles and we bring them in. We do that with our singing. We do that with our prayers. And we do that, I'm reminded, each and every week, right? We do that by, I think, the opposite of what, right? The Torah says that it was so dark that we couldn't see one another. And I think that the way we bring light and we make sure we are shining light out into the world is that we see each other, right? We see our friends who maybe aren't here because they don't feel well. We see a friend who looks like they could use a helping hand one day. They've had a hard week, right? We make sure that no one feels like they are sitting alone in the darkness because we can always shine light for them. So another way I think we shine light is through our blessings, which are meant to both, I think, give us comfort but also inspire us into the world. And so I'm going to invite everyone to join me on page 258 if you're at home, and if you're here, page 11 if you're at home, and we're going to offer a prayer for our country and then one for the state of Israel. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit, as together we say, Amen.
Avinu שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. So along with light with which we have filled this room, we're also going to fill it with some sweetness as we turn to the Kiddush for Erev Shabbat. So I'm going to invite Isaiah to come on up with his family. He will be becoming bar mitzvah tomorrow. Eliana, we'll have you make a return to the bima if you would like, with your parents. And I want to invite, it's my honor and pleasure, I'm going to invite Rama Fakari and Liz Bar Kohana, who are our second grade room parents, who helped put this night together and made it possible for us all to be here and celebrating together. So we're going to invite you to come on up to the bima. We're going to invite everyone to stand up. Think of a moment of sweetness in your week that you'll bring in for this. The Kiddush for Erev Shabbat is on page 5.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava v'ratzon hinchilanu. זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל שבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
Page 282, Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn now to those who have departed this earth. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. As is our custom, if you are here or you are at home and you are observing Shiva, 7 days following the loss of a loved one, if you are here, we invite you to rise in their memory, and if you are at home, we invite you to share their name. If you are in a period of shloshim, 30 days following the loss of a loved one, again, if you're at home and want to share a name, or you're here and you want to rise. If you are in the period of Shana, traditionally the first year following the loss of a parent, but if you are observing the first year after the loss of a loved one, you can rise and bear witness or share a name. And if you are here observing Yartzeit, if it's the anniversary of a loss, we invite you to rise. And I just want to name, of course, our founder, Rabbi Isaiah Zeldin's Yartzeit was commemorated just yesterday, this past week. And I said to my teacher, Rabbi Michael Zeldin, that I can't really think of a better legacy and gift of his memory than all of you who are here. So meaningful to be here with all of you to mark that moment. And so keeping all of those names that are in the chat, names that are in our hearts, names that are perhaps unspoken, but that stay with us, we'll invite you to rise on page 294 for Kaddish Yatom. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach herutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chaye echon uvyom echon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam alomei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yoshvot Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who are mourning here and comfort to those who are bereaved. As together we say, amen. We'll invite you to have a seat. Just a couple of thank yous and reminders. First, if tonight was not enough Shabbat, we're going to invite you to join us tomorrow morning, 8:45, either here on campus or online. You can join me and Rabbi Yoshi from 2 different locations. We'll be learning the Parshat HaShavua, this week's Torah portion together. And of course, we have 2 wonderful B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow. And just some words of thanks, first of all, to Malka Clement and John Heffron and Tammy Weiser, who make pretty much everything happen, but certainly made tonight happen. Tali, thank you for teaching our kids so beautifully, and to Jeff and Larry and Yaron for bringing us such beautiful music tonight, to Raz and Margaret and Andre and crew who just make it possible for us to do what we do. And as always, we also just want to thank our ops team and maintenance and security who aren't usually here for their thanks, but if you see them on campus tonight, please give them a thank you and a Shabbat Shalom, because they work really hard to make sure that our Shabbat is full of Shalom. So we're going to close. Speaking of Shabbat and Shalom, we'll close. I always say we never waste an opportunity to offer a prayer for peace. When our people come together, we say we can't leave without a blessing for peace. So we're going to sing the words, Oseh Shalom, and close with that hope and that prayer. Oh, and I didn't even thank Cantor Tanaz, because I love sharing the beam with her, and she may or may not have a favorite second grader.
Definitely.
We love them all equally, but every once in a while.
At your seats with me. Ose Shalom. Ose Shalom. Miroma. Ose Shalom. Miroma. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Amen.
All right, second graders.
May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one peace down, bring peace
They're still going. They're still going.
Mirama, Ose Shalom. Mirama.
Shabbat Shalom. Oh. Yeah, but you want me to do it? Or they're going to ZH?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're joining us second grade for Shabbat dinner, we're in ZH, open seating. I've been practicing dancing all week.